Tonight, grown-ups are going no contact with their parents, who are also grown-ups. Tonight at 11. All right, we sound good. Let's party.
There's an increase in the number of people cutting off their parents, but there's one thing I've noticed about this trend. Has anybody else noticed that when an adult child chooses not to have a relationship with a parent, it's always, but it's your mom and dad. You only get one mom and dad. Why are you doing that? And it's never, wow, what could a parent have done to cause their child to make this decision but feel like it was the right one? It's
If your kids no longer want to speak to you when they become adults, that's 100% your fault as the parent. What most parents don't seem to understand is that the parent-child relationship is not the same as the...
Okay, and another thing, going no contact is not a trend. It's not an aesthetic and it's not a personality trait. It is quite literally a last resort. Nobody just wakes up.
You know, to be honest, I'd go no contact with every one of those people's parents like that. No, but in all reality, though, that's got to be pretty brutal. I got to go back to the first guy. Hold on. I've never really experienced that, to be honest. Tell me if I'm crazy. I would argue, Nestor, I want your opinion on this. I would argue that I've fucked over my parents way harder than they ever fucked me over.
Yeah, same.
No, seriously. Let's be honest here. Let's take some accountability. Can I get an amen? But you got to think about it. I never really understood why people would just like, I don't talk to my family or my parents at all. And I kind of do get it because my dad did fuck me over, but it's easy to screw someone over when you're on drugs, like hardcore narcotics.
Yeah.
And I did go no contact with him for like a year until we made amends, and it was cool. But I couldn't imagine getting driven to the point where fuck you, mom and dad.
Yeah.
I hope you die. Which some people are like that. But you only have one mother in this life. Yeah, well, my mother only had one me. I think a lot of people didn't want kids. I honestly believe that.
That's a good point.
I think a lot of people did not want kids. I hate to say this, but they didn't want you. They kept you, but they didn't want you. Some people just put you up for adoption. They went no contact with you. That's fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
That's not cool. Honestly, why do we hold family to different standards? And then, why do we hold family to different standards than friends? If you wouldn't put up with something from a friend, why would you from family? I would argue that it's a lot easier.
Okay,
I would argue that it's a lot easier to fuck over someone close to you.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Like,
I think some people think they can do family more dirty because they have like this forgiveness pass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I don't think it's on a conscious level. I think it's like, for instance, when I was 15, 16, 17, I thought it was smart to just take $20 out of my mother's purse every Friday night. She didn't need it. But here's the fucked up part. I could have just asked.
Mm-hmm. She would have probably gave it to you.
No, she would have.
Yeah.
I could have just asked. But I think there's this thing of they don't understand. I don't have to explain it to them. But I didn't deal with shitty parents. Like I ended up confessing to her years later. And I had a little bit of money and I paid her back. I was like, here's $500. That's probably what I stole from you. Mm-hmm. And she was like, you stole from me? And she goes, it's okay. And I was like, no, not really. But I always thought that was kind of funny where it was like, but I've never experienced that in reverse except for when my dad was on drugs and he did steal from me and he did lie from me and he did steal my car and he did pawn my stuff. And I was real fast to cut him off. You know, he didn't do that to me for years, you know, and I cut and we made amends. But if I dealt with that my whole life, or if my parents genuinely didn't love me, which some parents don't, it's true. I've met these people.
You can tell.
It's like their parents never say, I love you. They could give two fucks. They don't care. I think it's almost being forced to go no contact, to be honest.
Your decision to go no contact with your family of origin is 100% the right decision.
I just thought that was funny. She knows none of us. She's just like, you're right.
I think our generation is going no contact because there's no reason to deal with their parents' nonsense anymore. My grandparents probably had the same issues. The difference is that they gave financial leverage to my parents. They gave a lot financially that it was kind of worth dealing with them. My parents do not give me nearly the same amount of financial leverage that they were given, and they were living in booms and whatnot. So like right now, having been in a recession, most people are in debt, can't buy their homes, in student loans.
Okay, so what I'm gathering from this is if your parents are shitty, it's all right if you're getting paid for it. That's kind of like a job, though. Most people show up to work to places they hate for money.
You'll deal with it.
It's that's kind of what I'm getting with this. Yeah. But if they don't have money, later, losers, get some money, mom and dad, suckers. You know what I mean? Parents used to give their kids money for a down payment on their first home. I think that's like at an all-time high. Actually, look that up in 2024. I think that's at an all-time high. My parents went on a cruise while I was in the hospital being born. I was only 3 months old. No, I'm just kidding. My parents went on a cruise while I'm struggling to pay rent and wonder why I don't prioritize going home for the holidays. I'm getting a lot of money issues here. What do you got?
Around 25% of first-time home buyers received a gift or a loan from family or friends.
25%. Damn, yeah. 1 in every 4.
That's
look up what that was in the 80s. Look that up. I'm curious. I don't know how they're gathering this information, but my grandparents gave housing to both kids, helped with loans, inheritance, childcare, and so on. My parents took that privilege and didn't even pay a meal plan when I was in college. You know what's funny? Is I paid my dad's rent at the age of 19 for the next 15 years. Minus a year, I cut him off. 15 years, I paid for him. Which that's not normal either. And that's why, and most people were like, Jack, you're nuts. I would fucking never. I got that all the time. My cousin, a couple of my best friends, they live with me at times, or we'd all live together, and my dad's just there living with us. And they're like, I don't know how you do it. But they had to. They couldn't like go live on their own. So it's like, well, you're going to live with me. You got to live with my dad too. Even if he is a piece of shit. He's my piece of shit. What do you got?
Yeah, I got around 10 to 15%.
10 to 15%? Yeah, so not 80s. Too much. It's more now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's more now. We're just kind of, I want to throw that in the mix because what I gathered from that last one was, if you ain't got no money, you're not my mom. You're not my mother.
I'm curious. How did your family react when they found out you're paying for your dad's rent and stuff? Was your family?
They don't give a fuck. They don't know.
But were they like?
I didn't bring it up. They thought. Here's the best way I could explain this. My mother's side of the family, my dad's side of the family, kind of cut him off, but with the right intentions. My dad fucked over his entire family, including his kid, me. And his other kid, Mark Jr. Never met this guy. Dude's got a whole other son. Never met him. Yeah, failed that relationship. I don't know the ins and outs of that, but I've never met my own brother. My aunts and uncles, apparently he fucked over his parents. He fucked over his sister. And he fucked over my mother, his wife. And he fucked me over. But he was on drugs. You know, and they did go no contact. And my mother's side of the family, who's my closest side, they liked my dad when he wasn't on drugs, but he fucked up so many times for so long that they wrote him off completely. And they didn't like him. And they would throw him in my face. And they'd go, just like your father.
Dang.
Like I'm him.
Yeah.
And I don't hold that against them. I don't hold that against them. Right? Because you're just like your father, very judgmental. Chill the fuck out. No, I'm just kidding. But no one really cared. All of them, There was no, like, if I did tell, like, oh yeah, my dad's living with me, I never really went that deep with it because I didn't care.
Yeah.
I don't need brownie points for taking care of my dad.
Yeah.
I don't need, like, that's not what this is about. And they don't understand. They never had to do it. Like, how many people at 19, 24, 25 have to feed and clothe and pay for their parents? Not many. It's not like a common thing.
Yeah.
And most of the reactions I would get is, I would never. My parents owe me. Which is fine. I agree. Fucking play. Like, I grew up with a life that my parents provided me, a great life. My dad drove a Porsche at one point and had employees. My mother did great. It wasn't like I didn't experience that. It's just, I did experience the shitty side of it. Yeah. But most people don't care. They don't care so much that they're like, good luck with that, dude. Like, most people don't give a shit. If these people don't care about their own parents, don't expect them to care about yours.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never met anybody who cut their parents off for just making a few mistakes. I have met people who've spent their whole lives abandoning themselves to try and love their parents. People who disconnect from their own needs and boundaries and truth in order to keep the peace and avoid conflict with these grown adults who are supposed to be supportive mentors. I have met people who just want to talk about the fact that their childhood had neglectful, abusive...
Supportive mentors. I love that, dude. Like, how they say respect your elders? I always looked at, like, older people, like, you would expect them to be wise, right? Very understanding. But something I've noticed is a lot of older people now, it's almost the opposite. Like, you're supposed to be understanding, teach me something. And I think there's a lot more combativeness. It's almost like a 55-year-old is acting like how a 23-year-old would. And then the 30-year-old is more mature. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think we're in a weird time. I'm not saying everybody older isn't wise or mature. I'm not saying that, but that's something I've noticed.
Yeah.
Like, I've gotten to fucking like not arguments, but almost like I'm talking to a 70-year. Literally, I was talking to a 70-year-old, and it was like they sounded like they were 21.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, like, how do I feel older than you right now? Like, how do I feel? I don't know how to explain that, but I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And also sometimes they're not aware that their advice, it might have worked for them back in the day, but like it doesn't transfer.
Oh, my favorite is I've had some of my family, like, that's when I get you're just like your dad thrown in my face. Like, my dad was a dreamer. He was also a drug addict, guys. Okay. It's not like in his dreams, in his success, he was successful. He just had a drug problem, which was the funny part. They discount the fact that he did something, right?
Yeah.
Because he fucked up. But I would get that all the time where it'd be like, oh, I knew a dreamer. His name was Mark. That was my dad's name. And I'd be like, okay, like, I get it. Like, you don't agree with what I'm doing. Or they'd go, Jack, why don't you, why don't you go into hotel management? What are you doing with this own business or like trying to do what you want to do with your life thing?
Mm-hmm.
And I go, hotel management. I go, have you done that? They go, no. I go, do you want to, they recommend the job they're doing. And I go, do you like doing that? Like, no, not really, but it pays decent. And I go, so what you mean to tell me, you're going to tell me go do a job that you don't like and it just pays decent? This is what you're telling me. I wouldn't say that to their face, but that's like going on in my head is what I'm trying to say. Calling no contact kids at our hospice nursing home. Don't even show up for your dead dad. Goes, good.
Least favorite part of my job. A patient is asking me to call his son, who he's not spoken to in 10 years, and tell him to come visit him before he dies. Okay. So he said no, he's not going to come. I said that I respect that decision. Asked if he wants me to notify him whenever his dad does die, and he said yes. I have to go in here now and tell.
He goes, yeah, give me a call. Let me know when that piece of shit's gone.
Ooh.
That's rough, dude. That's kind of rough, man. But if he had money, I'm gonna be the first one at the table, dog. I'm gonna be right there next to you. It's okay, Papa.
Yeah.
Uncle Grandpapa. grandpapa.
The funeral gonna be
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
party,
The
dude.
funeral's just lit with a bunch of people flicking them off, going, "Where's the money, Dad?" Dude, when my mom died, I had some people coming at my neck, like people that lent her money were coming after me for the money, and I was like, "Did you lend me money?" Like my mother
Wait, you're
wasn't
talking about
rich.
friends and family?
Yeah,
or
like
debt
coming at the neck.
collectors?
I'm like,
No way, dude.
I'm like, all right, like for real, I got sued. Yeah, straight up. I was like, dude, I don't even owe you money. You didn't lend me $1.
Yeah.
I was like, my mother died with $6,000 in her bank account. What do you want from me? They think I'm like getting all this money. I'm like, she's poor, she's broke. What are you fucking talking about? My dad has negative money. He's shitting his pants on the couch. Literally, he had dementia. I mean, no contact child. I don't want to know when she passes, be called, or attend any funerals. Damn, dude, this is kind of fucked up.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this.
I don't know, dude. I was having a really good day today, too, you know? Like, bringing up all these emotions. Like, dead parents, they don't care. Their parents are alive. They're saying good riddance. Where's the money? It's kind of fucked up. But it's got to be pretty deep, though. Like, that's got to be a pretty shitty upbringing.
Yeah, there's got to be some.
That's got to be
some deep trauma.
That's
there.
rough, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that's got to be a certain level. I don't think that's just pettiness. I think that's some deep shit. And I think a lot of people didn't want kids, but they kept them anyways.
Because you know when a teen goes through a rebellion phase, just
yeah.
out of the blue for no reason, and
Yeah.
the natural instinct is to cut your parents off or keep some distance.
Oh, I remember the first time I called my mom a bitch.
Ooh,
She punched me in the face.
Your dad's.
That was
your
the
dad
only
hit
time
you?
she ever hit me.
Did your dad hit you?
No, my dad. Well, we told my dad later, and he goes, "Oh God." He goes, "You did what?" My dad was so cool when I was younger.
Yeah.
Like, he was the guy where I'm like, "Hey, Dad, you got like $50? We're going out to the thing." And he'd be like, "Don't tell your mother."
Mm-hmm.
Wake him up at midnight. "Hey, you think I can help me out with this thing?" He goes, "Oh." He goes, "Don't tell your mom." He goes, "I don't want to deal with that stuff." Anyways, let me see real quick. From a no contact child that was constantly guilt tripped about not seeing my terminal father before he. Okay, I got enough about this dead dad business.
Now, I don't understand why some parents act so surprised when their kids go no contact, knowing damn well you treated that kid like a servant more than you treated them like a child.
I don't think they knew.
Now, don't get me wrong. There's some amazing parents out there. But then there's a select group of parents that traumatize their kids, that never allowed their kids to speak, never created a safe space. And to be honest, you're one of the reasons why your child deals with so many different issues like anxiety, because you stressed that kid out. That kid never was allowed to be a kid because you forced them to grow up fast. Now, a lot of parents are going to say, I was young, I tried my best, I did everything I could. That still doesn't mean that you ever had the conversation where you apologize for all the wrongs that you did to your child.
The worst part is I honestly think most of them, they don't even if they did know, they don't care.
Yeah.
Or they don't know. My dad had zero accountability. He got caught stealing from the gas station on camera. Wasn't me. Literally. No, I didn't do it. He would never admit it. Ever. Ever. But that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people. Whether they're right or wrong. They're like, no, that's not my fault. That's kind of brutal, man. I feel like that's a hard choice.
Yeah.
That's a hard choice. I fortunately did not grow up with that. Like, how many people had kids and it just completely, they had to halt their entire life. They didn't want kids. Their entire life now they have to pay for this thing they don't want. Now they resent their kids and then the kids end up resenting them.
Yeah.
So it's almost a good thing when people are like, if they know themselves and they're like, I really don't want kids, then fucking don't. You know what I mean? Like, don't do it because they may never move out.
Ooh.
In this economy. What were you going to say?
No, I had an ex-girlfriend one time. And it was so obvious that her mom resented for having her sometimes in every argument. The mom would always say, "I should have aborted you."
Shut up.
I swear. And it used to.
Fucking bitch, dude.
But
What?
there's
What the
parents.
ultimate
There's parents that
comeback?
make it obvious. There's parents that just make it obvious that I regret having you. You know what I mean?
That's a real thing.
And I think if there's a justifiable reason for no contact, it might be that.
The people I feel the worst for.
Yeah.
My first ever girlfriend, Frank, is a girl. We just call her Frank because she's a dude to us now. But she's not literally a dude now, but we just don't say her name. So she's Frank. And it's stuck. We still call her that 20 years later.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the first time because I came from a 2-parent household, decent upbringing, like middle class. She lived in a trailer park, a bad trailer park, with her grandparents. Her mom and dad lived down the street in separate trailers.
Ooh.
Not down the street, up the road.
Yeah.
They just don't want kids. They had kids, they don't want them. So to be that close, your mom and dad are down the street and they don't want you there. Go live with grandma and grandpa.
Yeah.
Yo, I remember being like, her grandmother was like a kingpin. She was the weed kingpin of the trailer park.
Yeah.
So you walk in, she's blazing joints, dude. I'm not kidding. I'm 16, 17 years old coming in, grandma's smoking joints. Grandfather's fucking watching Judge Judy. They're in this trailer park hillbilly shit, like ghetto though, not even hillbilly. Ghetto trailer park. Like, I'm sitting there like, damn, this is your life. And then I meet her parents. I'm like, why don't you live with your parents? She goes, they don't want me. And I remember being like, damn, dude.
Yeah.
But guess what happened? Same thing happened to her kids. She lived down the street and the kids lived with the grandparents. Yeah. On the dad's side though. Keep tabs on her once in a while. It's like a long drama series with this
generational.
It's fucked up though.
Yeah.
It's fucked up. This is a real person. I hate to air her business out, but it's crazy, man. It really is.
Your millennial child going no contact with you isn't because they're ungrateful you fed and watered them for 18 years. It's because they told you 100 times what hurt them, and instead of listening, you played victim, became emotionally abusive, and then they had to set a boundary to protect themselves the way you wouldn't protect them.
Okay, she's going off. That's getting a little petty there. Some parents, though, I've met parents that they're just not happy for their kids' success. They don't want them to do any better than them.
The competitive parent.
That was a real thing.
Dude.
And I remember my dad was kind of a little bit like that. I remember my first business that really worked out. I wasn't making a lot of money, but for me, to make $1,200 a week on your own business, like I was winning, like that was big, dude. That was big.
You were wishing.
And I remember, I remember telling him that, and he goes, when you're making that a day, come talk to me. And I remember being like, you little piece of shit, you fucker. But I didn't. It was fine. Like it's cool. It's not like I get it. He wants me to. You could do better, like which I respect because that's why. But he was very supportive. Remember, he was on drugs. But I remember being like, "Damn, petty fuck, dude."
Yeah.
Because my mom wasn't alive at the time, or else she would have been like, "My son's fucking the best."
Yeah.
That was my mother.
Like the ultimate cheerleader.
Yeah. My mom was like, "He's gonna do great things." I'm like a royal fuck up at the time, and I'm like, yeah. But I had to grow up. I had to grow up with like getting introduced at family functions or like parties. My mother's and go, "This is my son Jack. He's gonna grow up and be the funny Tom Cruise. He's gonna do extraordinary things." And I'd go, "Oh God, I gotta live up to that." I'm like shaking somebody's hand, like, "I hope she's right." I go, that's a lot of pressure.
Brother.
That's a lot of pressure, dude. I remember like I'd pull her to the side and I go, "Why you gotta do that, man? What the fuck? I gotta go out there and tap dance like a damn monkey out here." I usually did a pretty good job.
What most parents, especially on this app, don't understand is that it is very hard for a child to grow up and want to get away from their parents, like completely disconnect from them. It takes something that's happened for years, trauma, abuse, neglect, to the point where the child will grow up and realize that There is nothing I can do to connect with my family or parents. I need to get away from it. And these are the same kids that have part-time jobs. They go to school.
I think I've heard enough. I think he nailed it. I don't think people want to do that. I don't think people don't want parents, family.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like something you're 15 and you're like, I don't want love and support. No one's ever said that. I don't think. You know, it's something you wish you had. And some people do have it. I grew up with that. And I can't imagine not growing up with that. I've experienced my father fucking doing some shady shit, some real dirty stuff. I have. But that was after, you know, he gave me a whole life of love. And I'll do anything for my kid, you know. So I think that's something to, you know, that takes a lot of planning. I'm sure it's not just an overnight thing. That's probably, you know, 20, 30 years later, you go, okay, I'm done. I tried. Remember, some parents only abuse one child. It's called scapegoat syndrome, Cinderella effect. Oh, man, luckily I was an only child. My other brother, my dad was never in his life. Sucker. That's fucked up, right?
Yeah,
that's fucked up. But imagine how he feels, though, to know he never knew his dad. And his dad's over here playing house with a whole other family. I thought about that, too. I was like, damn, that's got to suck.
I was thinking about when you found out, did you feel any type of kind of survivor's guilt in a way? Like
I just did it as a joke, but I really do feel for him.
Yeah, but like in a way where you're like,
I think I've contacted him, but I haven't made the call yet.
Yeah,
because he doesn't have Facebook. He doesn't have any of that stuff. He's 10 years older than me. But I just want to let him know you didn't miss out on much. He would have fucked you even harder if you knew him.
Yeah.
Not to joke around, but I do feel for him.
Yeah.
Because that is like the most extreme version of what that comment was. I couldn't imagine. What if I did have a brother or sister and my parents loved them more? It's like, why can't you be more like Cheryl? Jack? Yeah? You see what she did? Huh? Did you? If you could be a fraction of good as her. You know, like I couldn't imagine growing up like that. I'd break up with my parents too.
Yeah.
People don't walk away from loving relationships. Makes all the sense in the world. Lack of accountability in our parents is crazy. LOL. That's good. The abuse continued. That's why. They need to leave your life. I think I've heard enough, dude. It's true. And you realize after a point, why should I put an effort into someone who refuses to listen after decades? Yeah, I think that's the key term there. Decades. Yeah, I couldn't possibly. I could imagine. I've been fucked over by my own dad. He ruined our financial life, our stable house, spent all the money, fucked my mother over, screwed his own son, takes any money he could. I'll end on a funny note. This one, we laughed about this years later. This piece of shit. He was funny, though. I miss him, but I can laugh at it now. But I remember it was my birthday. 23. He calls me up. And this is after I already broke up with him for a year. He was already back in my life for a little while. He calls me up. He goes, Jack, come over here. You got to come to the Duffy's. It's a sports bar. He goes, meet me at Duffy's. I need you. Come on. And I'm in my head. I'm like, oh, that's cool, man. He's going to take me out to fucking a birthday lunch, dude. Like, cool. So I pulled up the Duffy's. I'm all stoked, you know, like my dad's getting his life back. He comes outside and he goes, I need $47. I don't have any money for my tab. Oh. I looked at him, dude. I rolled the wind. I fucking pulled out like a wad of cash. Because at the time I was selling, I pull out a wad of cash. I just flick through a bunch of bills, pull out a $5. Shit in his face real quick. Yeah, true story. God. Taco was there for that one. Yeah, but that was low, dude. That was low. He didn't even know it was my birthday. And he needs money to pay for a bar tab. I was like, you piece of shit. Anyways, I'm still laughing about it 13 years later, though. Anyways, you good?
Yeah, love you guys.
Nestor loves you. And just so you know, we would go no contact with your parents, too. You understand? Well, fuck them up, dude. I'm just kidding. I just start breaking stuff. Wow.